leaving the Target that I was at the time, going to other businesses, as you heard the chief, looting, damaging property. Within the last hour, they returned to the Midway Target and were launching those projectiles, as you heard the chief mention, rocks, glass bottles, water bottles, and officers have been using tear gas in response, as the chief said, also using, as he said, non-lethal ammunition, so rubber bullets on the crowds and protesters that were outside that Target. We moved into our live truck because it wasn't safe as of right now. So the St. Paul Police Department, as you heard the chief, they're asking people to disperse. They're asking people to stay away from the University Avenue area as this continues, as the crowds continue to gather around the area. We also know that there was a fire at a nearby TJ Maxx in the Midway Shopping Center. St. Paul Police Department was tweeted that out as well. But the crowds, they've been moving to different businesses throughout this area. A witness told me that a nearby liquor store was looted, also a nearby pawn shop, so a number of businesses. Also nearby the Target, there was a Verizon shop, a noodles restaurant, and a vitamin shop that were also heavily damaged, the windows heavily damaged from the crowds. So definitely a changing situation. So we'll continue to monitor it as we're here in the Midway area, but they continue to go to different areas throughout the Midway Shopping Center.
Megan, we appreciate your report. We know that several other Target stores and CVS stores have closed just as a precaution because of the looting that has been happening. Maplewood has asked people to stay away from retail areas because of that flash looting, as they're calling it. Right now, we're going to head over to the epicenter of last